Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Thank you all so much for joining. I'm really happy to be here and chat all about gardening today. It's going to be a fun one. So, welcome. I see everybody in the chat already. I'm so glad to see you all. We are joining you here in central Oklahoma, and it was so warm yesterday. We were in the upper 70s, believe it or not. It was incredible. I was hot when I was walking around outside, but today it's cold again, and I'm like, oh, I got so used to it. Hey, smart pots. Oh, great. Michelle, you and me both. We have so many cattle panel arch trellises out there because it's my favorite thing in the entire garden. It's my favorite place is to have these. Let's see. I probably have pictures in here, don't I? I'm trying to see. I'm gonna have to show you. Oh man, I don't think I do. Oh no. Well, you know what? If you guys are following our Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, I'm sure you all have seen my shorts that I've been putting out. And um, I showed our DIY arch trellises that we made, and then I showed because I we got a lot of questions about like how tall they were. So they're like, that doesn't look very tall. I was like, I am 5'10". I'm very tall. I can walk right underneath. It's very nice. Like, it's perfect for me. I love it. But the beauty of those is you can make them like as tall or short as you want. I love it. Oh, yep. Well, those are our hoop houses. Let's see. If you want to go down, I posted just the other night. I post a lot, you guys. So
Here it
yeah,
is.
that one right there.
So this is the way I got to there is from the home page of the app. If you scroll down to videos, these are all hand-picked ones that are relevant to right now. But if you want to see everything that's going right now, then you can click on this watch more videos, and these are all the most recent ones. So this is us right now. Hello. And then we're doing this fun new thing where every Monday, Carrie's putting out a video that's like a weather forecast almost is what we're thinking. It's like just a 1 to 2 minute video just giving you an overview of what you can do based on where you are in the country. So check those out. But lots of shorts, or just all sorts of DIY things in here. So check those out. She's constantly on her phone. I got to pry it out of her hands usually because she's always trying to leave comments or do something on there. So check it out. But yeah, so today we're just gonna. So usually when we do these, we have a specific topic we talk about. We get so many questions that we can't really keep up with them, and we always feel bad because there's questions when we're looking back through that we wanted to be able to answer. So today we wanted to dedicate time just to hanging out with all of you guys, answering your questions, showing some new things in the app. I'm going to show some new stuff that's going to be rolling out to everybody this week. It's already in the hands of our beta testers, and we've gotten some awesome feedback. Here's a little bit of a preview. Look how giant this garden is. So you asked, we listened. Look how big of a garden you can now have. This is a 30 by 30 garden. So really excited about this and would love to hear your feedback on all of this. So we can show some of that as well and just talk about growing food and talk about what we're growing right now, talk about what y'all are growing right now, answer any questions you have. We've been doing some gardening this week. It's been, like Carrie said, it's been really nice outside. So we've been doing a lot of just kind of cleanup around the farm and getting ready for all the plants that are going out. We've also done some seed starting though. You can't really see behind Carrie though. Carrie, I'm going to go full screen on you for a second here. So
Woo,
this
there
is
it
set
is.
up right in our kitchen. We've got our biodomes going over there. We've got some lettuce and Swiss chard and different things we've got going there. So seed starting is underway for us. I also set up a grow tower yesterday. I've got a picture of it here. So this is one of the green stock grow towers that I moved into our sunroom corner. You can see it right here, so that we can have lettuce because it's supposed to get really cold in February, and I had to buy lettuce the other day, and I don't want to have to do that again. I hate having to buy lettuce from the store. I know how easy it is to grow. So I just filled every single one of these with the romaine blend of different colors. This is going to be a tower of lettuce. We're going to have an overwhelming amount of lettuce in
That's
three
good.
3 to 4
That's what we
weeks.
need.
That's my plan. So got that set up. We have another little indoor garden inside of the sunroom that we set up. We have some grow lights on it as well. We also have some big breaking news around the farm.
We do. I can't believe we didn't open with
I
that.
can't believe it.
Oh my
This was
gosh.
scary.
Yes.
Like right before we did this. This was an hour ago. You see, she's wearing the same shirt. This is a
Yep.
new baby goat that was born last night. We were so excited. We heard what sounded like a baby goat being born, and we ran out there at like 11 o'clock at night. And sure enough, there was this little girl here.
Ugh,
So
she's so tiny, you guys. Like oh, she's so cute. Oh my
she
gosh.
doesn't love us yet, but she
She
will.
will.
She will. So it's been an exciting time around the farm here. We had her born, and here's her hanging out with her mom is over here on the right. Mary Kate and Ashley are these two goats. The one on the right is the mom. That's Ashley. Um, the sheep over here on the left is Sam Bradford because he's a Ram. You know, Sam Bradford's from Oklahoma. He played for the Rams. So he's Uncle Sam, obviously. To the Carrie thought the joke was corny, but I had to say it. And then obviously here's our daughter Mary with obviously is a little lamb.
Little
So
lamb. We had more little babies.
I told you all in the notification garden puns and jokes. So we had some of our own ready to go. So anyway, that's what we've got going around the farm. Really excited to get growing. Like I said, we've got it was warm for like a week. And it looks like it's going to get really cold for February, which it always does. The kids always get excited in January because it starts getting warm, and my daughter starts asking me to fill up the pool. I'm like, calm down. Like, it's not like this is not real. And February is always a kick in the teeth around here. And it looks like that's what it's going to be again. So, but that's where indoor seed starting comes in. So if you've checked out any of our recent live stream, we've talked all about starting vegetables and flowers indoors. We've covered a lot of that. So yeah, what kind of questions do we have? I've been
We do
talking.
have a question relating to the goat while we transition. So how do the goats participate on
I'll
your farm?
tell you what, these goats are the biggest helpers on the farm. Probably they do more work on the farm than I do, because when we bought this property, it was 10 feet tall of weeds everywhere except for the house where the house was. It was 5 acres of weeds. And that's why we got goats, because they are our landscaping crew. So they ate the entire property down to what it is now. And now we have fences we put around the garden, these portable electric fences we can set up. And then the goats stay out of the garden, but they keep everything else mowed down. So I don't have to worry about, like I said, we're on 5 acres. And if I had to worry about keeping all of it mowed, I would have no time for anything, especially gardening. So they do all of that for me. They work together. The goats come in and eat everything down. And then the chickens come through after the goats have done that. And they eat all the rest of the scraps and eat all the bugs and everything else. And then we have pigs also that get involved, and they go through and dig everything up. And by the time they're done, we have got a perfect looking garden that I had to do. All I had to do was put a fence in an area and say, hey, here's some food, animals. And it's a nice relationship. So that's why we originally got goats. But also part of it for us is legit. Both of us just love animals, and it's like having a therapy farm, really. Sometimes when you get really stressed out, it's just nice to go hang out with some baby sheep and goats, and they just climb all over you and stuff. So they're all like pets to us. We don't eat any of the animals on our farm except for roosters that become jerks. We will eat those. We've done that. That's about the extent of what we do with the animals on our farm. They're mostly just helpers, and a lot of eggs. We get a lot of eggs too. So yep, talk about cheap labor. Yep, absolutely.
Yep, it's great. Like, we just feed them with or give them food, and they're happy to help. Okay.
No, we did a collaboration with Greenstock last year, so we'll reach out to them about doing another one. So we have a lot of them. We have 6 Greenstocks that are put together, and a pink one that I ordered at the end of the year last year that's still sitting in the box. That one I'm really excited about because we're going to do a petunia tower on the pink one. We got that idea from you guys last week. Did
So,
Yeah, so you want to take this one?
oh, sure. Yeah. So, this is a great question of how we keep our goats out of flower beds. So, we do have an area like in front of our house that we have some flowers and things like that. So, whenever we let the goats out, I mean, they have their like home base back there, and whenever we let them out, I'll turn on either a motion activated sprinkler or we have just a sprinkler running on the areas that we don't want them to go. So that way, like they'll avoid that. They hate water. So we're safe doing that. So having all of that has been super helpful. Okay, I did see some other questions. So Carol was asking about so she started some squash seeds in her biodome. So that's exciting for you. Yay. So how long do you keep the cover on your biodome? So with the biodomes, I have a whole bunch of them back here. Whenever they start to sprout in there, I typically go through and I'll open up the vents so that way they get some air circulation. And then after like all of them have sprouted, that's when I'll go ahead and take the cover off, and I'll make sure that they're just sitting like the lights are like right there. So that way they're getting plenty of light and not going to be worried about getting them leggy or anything like that.
I'm
You know
trying to
what I
think.
just you know what I just realized too is that we just hopped in. Usually I have a slideshow, to remind me about giveaways and to like tell people about the giveaway. But I realized I don't think we mentioned it at all. We're 12 minutes in. Wow. So yes, we are doing a giveaway today too. So make sure you guys stay tuned. We're going to be giving away at the end of this. So here at the top of the hour, we're going to be doing a giveaway for a free 1 year premium Seed to Spoon app subscription and a pack of Park Seed seeds as well. And we will do a giveaway for somebody that's live here, as well as somebody watching after the fact. If you were not able to join us live, don't worry. You still have a chance to win too. And I'm going to go ahead and announce the winner from last week also, because we forgot to do that too. Okay, so last week's winner, I was pulling this like right before because I was like, oh no, I didn't pull a winner yet. So I was frantically trying to do that right before we went live. So congratulations to Cynthia Shine. And she got this comment right here got selected. I'm trying a lot of new flowers this year, so that's exciting for her. Last week we were talking all about flowers and seed starting, all the various flowers, how to do it, and it was a fun one. If you guys missed it, go check it out. But Cynthia, all you need to do is just email us right there at info@seedtospoon.net and we'll get you hooked up.
Got a question here from Melissa asking about a good solution for grubs. So let me show in the app. If you go into the shop, we actually carry this product called Milky Spore, and it's a naturally occurring soil bacteria that controls the grub, and it can last for a very long time in the soil. It's like up to 20 years. So this is the most effective way for treating grubs. If you have a very large area, it may not be practical, but if you are in just like a regular backyard, then this will control them around the garden area, especially. So yeah, so that's the number one. And this also, if you've had issues with June bugs, this is what the grubs turn into. So this will prevent that as well.
Okay. I don't know if you know this or not from Malia. She was asking, so she said one gardener said if peat moss is used to make potting
Mhm.
mix rather than coconut coir, lime has to be added because peat moss is acidic.
Yeah, so peat moss is acidic. So like it, especially like that's why a lot of times you'll see people talk about using peat moss heavy mixes for blueberries or for tomatoes because they like the acidity of it. Um, For most things, if you're following the Mel's mix, then like the book goes into detail on how or why he's not super concerned about it, because most plants are going to fall within the range. There are going to be some things that might like to be more alkaline. I really haven't had any examples of anything that I've had problems growing due to this. The biggest thing is just things like to be more acidic. Sometimes like blueberries will really struggle if it's not acidic enough, but um, never really been an issue for us. I do like using coconut coir more, though. I like the texture of it more. I feel like it gives more ability for the soil to allow nutrients to flow through and water to get through and all that kind of stuff. Whereas the peat moss is just, I don't know, just doesn't have the same texture as the coconut coir. So I do like it more.
Okay.
And question here about biochar. I've never like officially made biochar the ways you see in YouTube videos, where there's a very specific process and you do all this stuff. I have had a tremendous amount of fires in areas where I'm going to have a garden, where we like clean up the area, put everything together in a big burn pit, burn it all, like, and then like what's left is essentially like a form of biochar. But if you like really go down the rabbit hole of biochar, they're going to tell you I'm not doing it the 100% right way, because you got to like get it to a certain temperature and then stop and do all this stuff. I'm not going down that deep of the rabbit hole. I am using fire to help, and I'm not overthinking it. So yes, I've kind of used biochar because like when we built our big garden out here, that we like show all the time, that was just like a big field of like a giant hill and a bunch of like trees, and like there was just a whole lot going on. And I kind of demolished everything and then flattened it all out and took all of that stuff that was there and then put it in a big pile and had like a really big fire, and then we spread that out. And then so yes, but I don't like, you can really go down the rabbit hole with biochar. And I am someone that really likes going down rabbit holes, so I have to keep myself from going down too many. And with gardening, I've learned that really you can just keep it pretty simple, and you don't have to do all of that stuff to have success. So that's just my own personal preference on gardening, is I overcomplicate literally everything else in my life. And I like to keep things that are for my mental health simple. So when it's gardening or guitar playing or whatever it is, I or fishing, I like to have it simple. And generally, I don't like there to be very much technology involved, which is kind of crazy because I built a gardening app. But part of the reason why we built the app was to make it so you had to spend less time on your phone when you're trying to garden. So the
Yeah.
answers that you needed were right there, and you didn't have to stare at your phone the whole time when you're out trying to enjoy the garden and do that. You just kind of know what you need to do out there. So my
Just
goal
makes
is
it
that you
easier because
don't
it's in one place instead of having to like go to Google and search and try to find the answers. And yeah.
the goal of the app is that you use it very, like, you don't have to use it that often when you're in the garden. It just kind of is a point of reference for you to pull it quickly. But I want you to be like out in nature, like, out in that part of the garden, and then use the app for planning and stuff whenever it's raining or you're stuck on a bus or something. So anyway, um, okay, I got on a rant about biochar. All right, all right, what other
So
questions do we
we had a
have?
question about coconut coir. So Julie wants to know if we can disinfect unused coconut coir. It was left on her deck, prepared but uncovered.
I guess the concern is like stray cats or something come in and use it as bedding. That's the number one concern I would have. Um, I mean, technically, like, I don't know if we've directly baked coconut coir. I know we've baked soil to disinfect
We've
before.
baked, yeah, we've baked like the seed starting mix, so coconut coir would have been in that too.
Yeah, but if it's just straight coconut coir, I don't know like what quite exactly what the fire hazard would be of super dried out coconut coir. So I
So it
don't
sounds
want
like
to put
Smart
them.
Pots had a pretty good suggestion. They said
Oh,
some
cool. Yeah.
gardeners will add boiling water to their cocoa to disinfect it. So that's helpful.
Got a question from Karma about watering.
So, oh, bummer.
Hmm. Well, we have a lot of stuff that talks about rain collection, but if you don't get rain, that doesn't help. One thing that we've done is if there's like days where there's limited water, or we've had times where the water was actually out on our block when we lived in the city for a couple days. There was some sort of an issue, and we were saved by the fact that we had rain barrels that we had filled up before, just with like water from the tap. So whenever you do have access to water, fill it up at that point. That may not work for you, but in our situation, that was something we've done in the past. Question about coconut coir, peat moss better for vermicompost? They're both going to work good. We don't spend that much money on our worms. I'm not going to spend money on our worm bedding. We use shredded paper from Mel that doesn't have ink on it, so just straight up black and white simple paper stuff. We use that as bedding.
Like envelopes that don't have plastic on them, or you can just peel the plastic off. But yeah, those are really, really great too.
Yeah. They also love the old animal bedding from the goats. I would think it's gross to live in that, but man, the worms love it. So I oftentimes, like lately, I've just been using that for my worm bedding. Obviously, not everyone has goats, but you can have rabbits no matter where you live.
Rabbits, yeah.
And that's what we used in the past was rabbit bedding. It was like pine shavings the rabbits were in mixed with like their droppings and stuff that we then gave to the worms. So anyway, are you keeping up with questions, Carrie? Because I cannot talk and
Yes, yeah, I'm trying here. Okay.
I want to show a couple other things too. So after this question, I want to show a couple things in the app that we've been doing.
Yeah, so Charlotte says, can you start okra seeds in the biodome since okra is recommended to be direct seeded into the bed?
I've never started. Yeah,
I was going to say, I don't think we've ever started okra indoors before. We've always direct seeded it because I know it is one that prefers that and it can go through transplant shock. But I mean, if you're going to do it, I think the biodome is the best way to do it because it won't disturb the roots as much.
Yeah.
Has anybody out there done it before?
Okra is one of those things that, like, typically we're starting things in a biodome because we're trying to get a jump on the season. And okra, it only likes the heat. It doesn't handle cold at all. So, like, by the time it's time to start okra, it's just as effective, if not more effective, just to plant it directly outside. And it's just always done better like that for us. Question from Michelle. No, I'm not a good gardener. I don't do the stuff. What I mean by that is I don't have time to do hand watering. I know that Square Foot Gardening says I'm supposed to, but I have 6 kids and we're really busy. So we don't do that. What we do is we have a combination of watering methods. We have a little bit of overhead watering going with sprinklers. We've used irrigation with PVC pipes in the past. Let me show you what that looks like. So again, if I go to the dashboard and then to videos, so we use PVC pipe for a lot of stuff. Okay, you've got one up here on YouTube showing that PVC pipe running.
I do, but I post a lot.
Okay.
Oh, there's one of them because somebody was asking how it was hooked up, so it's just a really quick clip showing. Nice music.
Could y'all hear that too? Cool.
What?
Could y'all hear that too?
I could. I assume they all could too. Yeah, the music.
Well, I think they can see. So we had a system where it was just basic PVC pipe that we made our own system from. We've done that. We've used
at the very end. It shows it going.
Okay. There we go. Yep. So we've done stuff like this. We've done the drip tubing. We've done soaker hoses. We've done every method of watering you can think of. And what I've landed on is if you have a small garden, so if you have maybe like 2 to 4 raised beds, I think the PVC solution is the best way to go. It's the cheapest and easiest way to go. Once you get above 2 to 4 beds, you're going to start dealing with issues where the PVC pipe the pressure from your system isn't going to be enough to supply water to all of the beds, and you'll end up with like some beds that are getting more water than others, and like there's just a lot that you have to start dealing with there. So that's when we started switching over to some of the irrigation tubing with emitters, so it was more water efficient, and we could have also drilled fewer holes in the PVC pipe to help with this as well. Um, so that's kind of where we are now at the scale that we're growing now. With like I don't know the overall size of it, but it's pretty large that we're growing, and I don't have time to build the irrigation for it. Although Edmondson from Smart Pots promises he's going to come over and help me build a bunch of irrigation this year. So we're going to make some videos and show all of that. And we're going to build examples of all the different irrigation methods I've talked about. So we're going to build more examples of the PVC pipe method, the drip tubing, the soaker hose method, like all the different ways you can water. I think each way has its use based on the type of garden you have, where you live, how much access you have to water, and what the area around your garden looks like. There's a lot of factors. And I just want to show you guys kind of all the different ways that we've set it up, though, so you can use that to determine how you want to grow where you are. That's one of the reasons why we set this garden up the way we did. We wanted to have test areas that we can set up to mimic different ones. And Harry says he wants us to live stream it, so let's do it. Evan, come over and we'll we'll live stream for, I don't know, we'll probably live stream whenever we're done with it.
Hey, I was gonna pop this up real quick. Scarlett, I am very sorry. I scrolled back up trying to find it, but I cannot. There's so many comments. So I'm trying my best to star them as they come up. Pop it into chat again so I can get your question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it doesn't let us search or anything.
Yeah.
So
I can only just like mark them if we want to come back, like if I want to save it so we can do it, because they go by often.
okay.
Wow, we have a lot of votes for it.
Well, we don't even necessarily have to build it in order to do the live streams. I think we just talk all about what we've done. We've got plenty of pictures and videos to show what we've done, and then
Oh yeah.
because it's going to be
We've
another
done
month or two before
everything, I feel like.
Yeah, cool. All right. I love how y'all give us feedback on what to talk about.
Okay, we have a great question here. So, when the app says plant outside now, does that mean start seeds, transplant seedlings, or both? So, you want to pull up the app and show that too?
Yeah, I'm trying to
Where we're
figure out
talking.
how to use the simulator and get out of YouTube. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. I'm used to like just using my finger, and I can't do that.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to a plant. Let's go to broccoli. We'll look at broccoli. Okay, so a couple of different things it's going to show here. It's going to show you your indoor start date. These dates are not for where I am. I'm using a simulator on my computer right now, and it thinks I'm
I
in
was gonna
Utah.
say those dates are not like, I was like, we just started broccoli. What?
Yeah. If you're in Utah, though, it's your lucky day because these dates are for you. If you're in Antimony, if someone is in this city, if you're within like a few miles of this city, like let us know in chat, and you just won a free pack of seeds, because that'll be fun.
It would be funny.
Yeah. Or if you're watching this later in the YouTube comments, we're gonna have a lot of people saying they're from Utah. Our
Yeah, I
stats
know.
are
They're like, hey,
90% of our people that watch are from Utah.
what's the chances?
Anyway, so these are the dates you can start indoors. That matches up with the yellow up here. And then outdoor spring planting window, that's when you see the green up here. So that matches up with when you can start planting things outside. So hopefully that explains, if it says outside, you're good to go on either seedlings or transplants, assuming that the seedlings are ready to be transplanted. And what I mean by that was if you started them indoors on May 1st, then it's not going to be ready to go outside by May 8th, because you've got to like wait till they have enough true leaves. They need 2 to 3 sets of true leaves to transplant them outside. This is all part of what we're working on right now in my garden to enhance the task view. So it makes it more clear when you need to transplant things and when you need to do all that kind of stuff. But But that's what we have right now. So, and I touched over this a little bit earlier, but I want to just briefly show some of the new stuff that um, we have that's coming out. So this is all, like I said, it's all out for our beta users right now. I know some of y'all are in the chat. Thank you so much for everything you've done to help us test. And the Anthony, I saw this. See the population.
118. We're probably gonna have all 118 on this live stream, right?
Okay, by the end of the live stream, whoever's closest to this city wins. That's a
Oh, hey,
contest.
we
So
have somebody that's in Utah.
I know. She's in northern Utah. It looks like it's in southern Utah. So if we have someone closer to there,
Oh,
this is a very. I'm sorry, everyone
I'm sure
outside
she
of
wants to know
Utah.
if she's 1 hour from New York City, if that counts, right?
It would have if we didn't have the person in northern Utah. So I
Oh,
had no
oh,
intention of making this a
2 hours
Utah
north of there.
live stream today, but here we are. So the universe has spoken. So anyway, the most heavily requested feature we've had has been to have the ability to have larger gardens. So you can now see if I come in here and create probably our 100th garden called test on this account, you can choose now up to 30 feet. If you guys need larger than 30 feet, please email us at info@seedtospoon.net and let us know. The reason why we even capped this is pretty technical, and you guys don't want to hear me get all technical about it. We are just concerned that, especially on older Android phones, if you have all of these populated with plants, that there could be performance issues. So that's also something I want to hear about. If you're on a phone and you have a really big garden and you notice that the more things you add, the slower it starts to get, please reach out to us. We've done testing on our test devices, but there are thousands of different Android phones out there, and it's really hard for us to test across all of them. We all have iPhones, so we test a lot on iPhones, and we have Android test devices, but you get what we're saying. So just let us know if you have any issues there. But we're really excited about this because we believe it answers the number one request that many of you have had, which is just for a large garden. Like you see, like I said, you have all the way up to 30 by 30. So if you want to have a large garden space and you don't want to have to split them up into multiple gardens, you can do that. I will tell you, this is not how I'm going to be using the app, though. This is overwhelming to me. I would not necessarily want to use it this way. I'm going to be using it to where I can view all of my gardens like individually and think about them kind of one garden at a time. But that's my choice, like for like how I'm going to use the app. I like to focus, like just to keep my mind from going wild of thinking about all the gardens I have to manage. Whenever I go outside to work on the garden, I think about one garden at a time. I just want to think about that one garden as I'm in it. I don't want to force the way I think on everyone else. So we want it to be to where it works for everyone's workflow. Um, we have been working on trying to make it where you can have like a view to see all of your gardens at once. It still isn't quite working the way we're hoping it would. So we're still working through some things there, but we hope that by making it to where you can now have like a really large garden, that you're able to do more of the things that you want to be able to do with the app, and also help us understand the things you want to do with the app. So if you run into things where you're like, man, it would be so much better if we could do this instead. We got some feedback earlier this week from, I believe it was Wendy, right, Carrie?
Yes.
They sent us so much great feedback about how the app would be better for her with larger gardens. And we're going to start incorporating some of that stuff. We've already started incorporating some of it. So really want to hear from all of you what you think about this workflow, what kind of ways you want to be able to edit gardens better. I see this question now. It's
Yeah, I
maybe
was
up
gonna
there
say
all
this
the
is
time.
it's funny that Donna asks this about inserting or deleting a row because we were
Yep.
literally talking about this morning.
Yep. So this is Patrick is looking at this today, actually, what it would take for us to be able to tap and hold, like right here, for example, and do insert row above or insert row below. The complexities we're having to work through are like what happens if the whole garden is full, like and like also like if you want to move a plant, if you want to move a plant that's across 10 and you move it somewhere that has other things, what do we do? Like there's a lot of complexities that come into it that we're working through, and we're trying to keep things as simple as possible, because the guiding light of this app has always been make something that's easy for people to use, that isn't complicated, that people like to use, that we like to use ourselves. So
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, because if we build it for us essentially, and
yeah.
because we want to have these features for us to track our garden and be able to manage our plants and remember what we planted and where. So we're right there with you guys, trying to make it great for us as well.
And Melissa, this is exactly the kind of stuff I would love to hear from. So if she's not already in our beta program, I would love, Melissa, if you're interested, would love to get you into our beta program so we can get builds into your hands before everyone else. And if there's sometimes there's just things that look weird on Android that look fine on iOS. And because we don't use Android every day, we just don't see that as much. So I would love just to have more, you know, more of you that are interested in helping us make the app better. And it's because of all of you that the app is what it is today, because we've been listening to your feedback since we started this app in 2018. When we released the app, we actually went to the Home and Garden Show in Oklahoma City, and we took our RV and we parked it at the Home and Garden Show. And I was out there from every minute that show was open with an iPad, chasing people down, being like, "Hey, check out this app!" And like watching people as they use the app, and like looking at their faces and seeing like what was confusing and answering their questions. And that is like, we knew from like the very first person, like you should see the first version of the app, y'all. We should we should do a live stream where we just roast the first version of the app. We just pull it up and just look at what it was. And it was basically a spreadsheet. There were bullets. Like it was just like a list of plants and just bullet points for all the items. And I remember taking that to the Home and Garden Show and
Hey,
showing
you know
people.
what? It was helpful for us, so
Yeah. And it
we
didn't
had
calculate
everything where
planting
we needed
dates
it.
yet. It just said like 2 weeks before your last spring frost. And I remember going to that Home and Garden Show and just seeing people like they got the idea, but they were also overwhelmed by all the data. And it was like, well, when is this? I need to calculate it. And that was when Justin joined the project, because Justin is one of the most brilliant developers I've ever worked with. And I knew he could figure out how to calculate planting dates. And within a week or two, he had it working where we were using all of this data to calculate planting dates based on where you were. And we were off and running. And that's kind of how the app started. And we're here today from that. So, yep. And Sue was right there with us. She was one of the first people we met early on that helped us share the word about the app and the Oklahoma Gardening Group on Facebook. And they had a big like event in the Oklahoma Gardening Group where people got together, and we went out and met her and some other people. And so anyway, that's a bit of a history lesson on how this app started. And, um,
Hey,
so
real quick, will you go try to plant a fennel next to that?
fennel is always like, every time we're wanting to test companions, fennel is a bad companion to everything.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, because
Yeah.
it grows well if you have it in a container off by it, like then it does great things, brings in lots of beneficials, but it is not great like planted in the same bed as others. So
Garlic and peas are also always the one I'm testing. So yeah, the
yeah,
companion stuff is working. Wendy, I remember seeing your comment about the companion stuff not working, and we looked at it and we thought it was maybe just an issue of the things not being bad companions. So let us know if there's a specific combination that isn't working. There may be an issue there or something. But
yeah,
let
I
us know.
think whoever I don't remember now who was just like, maybe I'm just lucky. It may have been Donna. So, but whenever I saw that email come through, the first thing I did was go and try to plant a fennel next to something. I was like, okay, there it is, bad companion.
Jennifer, I have not forgotten about this. I promise you, as I think about my green stock, it's also something that I don't like, that I have to set up like the flat grid of it. Um, you know, our first goal was to make seed starting better. So we had like a different UI now. So that's why if you guys aren't familiar with this, if you set up a new garden, this bed type, you can now choose between Biodome or seed tray, and it changes the UI to like look like that. So our goal was to start with seed starting on adjusting the UI, but I want to have an option in here for the towers. I've just got to figure out visually
Same
how
as
we
smart
pull that
pots
off.
too. We've had
Yeah, I
requests
know.
for smart pots also.
Yeah, because like the whole concept of the grid is it's all together. But I think with like these larger grids, we could do something like on, I've got so many test gardens in here. Okay, so on like one of these, we could make it to where you plant a basil, and then maybe that plant like has like you can tell it's a smart pot because of the way it looks there. Has like a black circle around it, or I don't know. We still need to think about like how we do that. But when it comes to the grow towers, I'm trying to figure out the best way for us to do that. And my mind starts trying to think that we need to build some sort of a thing where it's like you can tap with your finger to spin it around on the screen, and now I can already hear Justin and Patrick screaming like, Dell, what are you thinking? Like, why? That sounds like some pretty complicated stuff for us to try and do in a web view. Again, I'm getting technical, but I'm telling you, it's exactly what like, so I like that's where my mind goes, and I'm trying to think like what is a simple solution, because um there has to be one. So just continue to think through this. If you have ideas on how you think, like um if you were building an app and you wanted to tell someone how you would have them design it, like what ideas do you have? Send that stuff over, and let's work together to make this do what we all want to do for the garden towers, because I'm right with you, Jennifer. We got to get it better to where we can keep track of my garden towers.
While we're in the app, I thought this was an interesting suggestion to convert a bed from a regular bed to a biodome. Or I think probably
Mhm.
the opposite, from a biodome to a regular bed. Because if you're like just transplanting up, or
I think what he may be saying is he had it as a regular bed before we released that feature, and now
gotcha,
he wants to switch it to Biodome, but not lose the history of it and stuff.
gotcha.
So I think one of the things we also talked about this morning was making it friendlier to change the layout. Because right now, if you have a 30 by 30 garden or a 10 by 10 and you want to change the size of it, the only option you have is to reset the layout and lose all of your plants. And that's not any good. I'm sorry, y'all. That was a bit of an oversight. Um, but the idea was that we thought that people were going to use this to where you would have like a 4 by 8 raised bed, and you would have like multiple beds set up. And it's becoming clear to us that that's not the way you guys want to use the app. You want to have it to where you see more of it, and some of you want to use it the other way. But it's becoming clear to us that we need to adjust the way we think about it a little bit. Um, so yeah, we're working through that. It's going to get better, and we've got a lot of ideas. And Patrick is literally working on it today. So
Okay, we have some more garden questions here. Um, so, oh,
oh, sorry. When I switched to like this view,
yeah,
it
I
like
know you're good. Okay, so he was asking about the having like the hoops, but having them tall. Because I saw in a comment earlier he was saying he wanted to have like, oh yeah, right here, tall ones that can go over like a trellis. So
um I'm gonna go back to the app actually and show. So there's a couple of different things that we use, and maybe this isn't answering the right question, but I think the answer is the cattle panel trellis if you want something that's tall. So we
yeah,
have two different things that we do a lot of. One are these right here, these little hoop houses that go over raised beds that are not tall, like they're not tall, like they're like
yeah,
small, that they just fit over that individual one. And then we also have cattle panel arches that, let me go in this video so you can see. Okay, these are tall. I'm 6 foot tall and I can walk through these. So I would recommend, if you want something tall to go with these cattle panel arches, this video shows you it's very simple. We just literally hammer some T-posts in the ground, lay those out, zip tie them to the T-posts, and line them with smart pots. And then that's what we got. It's really that simple. So that's what I recommend. You're not going to have any protection though. The reason why we do the other PVC ones for the individual gardens is because they protect that actual garden. So we use this in the
So
winter
each one of
time,
our wooden raised
especially.
beds are 4 by.
So you see, this is the frame of them, And see, here's one that has plastic on it. And sometimes we have plastic over them. Sometimes we have insect netting. We switch out what we have there depending on the time of year and the temperature and all that kind of stuff. But again, you can check out our YouTube videos for details on all that stuff, and you can get to that from the dashboard. It takes you into our videos, and they're all right here. Carrie posts at least one a day, if not several sometimes. So
I was
it's
gonna
all
say it's usually at least like two, maybe three, because there's so
yeah.
much going on right now.
Yeah, and these also work great for shade. So we'll use it in the summer. Like we'll also use the cattle panel arches. Like we can just drape shade over that, and the things that are under them will be protected. Or ideally, we'll have something growing up the arches, so it
I was
creates
just
shade.
about to say, yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes we just have like a living shade wall of something like southern peas that can really handle the heat and then like shade out whatever we want to protect underneath them.
yeah. We've used like tomatillos, watermelon, loofah, beans, all of those
Cucumber.
things. Yeah, flowers, morning glories. That they get out of hand though. They'll start taking over. Cardinal vines. I mean, we've used so many different vining plants to take over cattle panels for shade in the summer.
Okay, Scarlett has a question. So she says usually she buys seedlings from a farm or nursery, but this year, exciting, she's doing her own
Yeah.
seeds. So I bought a rack, but I'm lost on the lights.
Here, you
Advice.
want to show? I'm going to go full screen on you, and you want to take your camera and show. So this is what we have set up, and this is what I recommend starting with. This is a very basic setup where if you're going to be starting multiple trays, then you can buy something like this. So this is a shelf that we got probably off of Amazon. I don't remember how much it was, but it wasn't that bad at all. It's 2 feet by 2 feet by 1 feet, 2 foot by 1 foot, I
But
think.
yeah, probably
Um,
about that.
Size to fit 2 biodomes. And then we got these LED grow lights. We have zip tied to the underside of the shelves. There's 4 of them on there. This is a real simple, basic setup that we have. That's a pretty cheap setup. Again, the lights. I think we got them off of Amazon. If you want to go smaller scale, then we actually have some stuff in our store in the app that is like an individual setup. So if you're just doing one biodome or something, like that's a great place to start from. But if you're going on like a larger scale, and it says you're going wild, so that's why I'm saying this, Scarlett. She said you're going wild. So if you're gonna go wild on it, this is like the start of going wild, and then out in our garage is like the evolution of going wild, which is we have like
See if I can
yeah, we have much larger
get
versions of we got
pictures.
this going out there. We've got a lot going out there. There's our whole garage is turned into like a little mini nursery pretty much at this point. I've got stuff hanging from the ceiling so that we can hanging plants. Like it's chaos out there.
Well,
Um,
and I will say too, like if like standard shop lights will work too, you can just do like standard LED shop lights like this that we have. These are just hanging in our garage too. And if you're just growing seeds just for transplanting outdoors, like this would work perfect for you.
I can't make the picture go away, Carrie. It's not letting me.
There you
There
go.
we
I
go.
got it.
I was hovering over it and it wouldn't give me the option. Okay, time check. It's 12:50, so we'll do our giveaway at the top of the hour at 1 o'clock. And are there any other questions about the app? Well, I've got it pulled up too. I want to see if we have you seen anything come up.
No, I have more garden questions. I don't have
Cool.
any other app ones, I don't think. So okay, so Donna says onions have sprouted and are starting to look leggy, but in the same biodome as petunias, lavender, asparagus, which are much shorter. So, should I remove the onions and place them in a different biodome? I would suggest doing that if you can, just to have them be closer to the light, because it sounds like your light's having to be a little bit further away, probably because of the different height. So maybe if you put it somewhere where it can get closer to the light, or if you can kind of, I mean, we've done that before where we have the light like hanging like this, so it's like really close to these plants over here and not over here. But yeah, we get creative sometimes. But yeah, anything you can do to kind of get the light closer to those, it'll help.
And that's one thing I'll mention. I saw another question here from Scarlett. Um, so if you're just doing simple seed starting and you're not going to be growing the plants very long, you're just kind of growing them for like 2 to 3 weeks indoors before you move them out. Doesn't really matter. Just go with the cheapest grow lights. So what I usually search for is like if my rack is 2 feet wide, I'll search for a 2 foot LED grow light, and that's usually what I'm searching for to find. Or like if it's a 4 foot one, I usually go to Sam's Club. That's where I get those. Um, I will say you're going to have to make sure the plants are very close to the light. They're not going to be as strong. You can have issues with leggy plants if they're not, like even if they're 4 inches away instead of 2 inches away. Like you got to really stay on top of it. So that's one caveat about not spending money on grow lights. Whereas if you do invest in actual like nicer grow lights, you won't have to have the plants quite as close and you won't have to stress about it as much. And if you're growing something beyond just for seed starting, you're going to need some of the nicer grow lights too. So we did a whole episode on indoor seed starting. We've done it several times now the past few weeks. So check those out, and we go a lot more in depth on grow lights and all that kind of stuff. But just at a high level, that's really what you need to know. I've got a question from Robin I saw. I'm going to pull up here. And we definitely have some thoughts on the Biodome and when it's better to use one version versus the other. So long story short, the 60 cell is best for things like lettuce, that it's not going to be in there very long. It's going to
Or
be
herbs.
it's not going to be in there very long. It's going to be transplanted out pretty quick. And I just need to be able to germinate a whole bunch of stuff in a hurry. So I'm using this for anywhere like I have like a lot of my grow towers. I'll start them all in a Biodome, and then I'll move those sponges over into the green stalks. It just makes it way easier. I'm not going to do a tomato in a 60 cell Biodome because it's going to outgrow that really quickly. And then I'm going to have a lot of work on my hands of having to up pot 60 tomatoes. I've been there, done that. I don't want to do that again. So for tomatoes and peppers, I'm using an 18 cell Biodome because they're going to be indoors longer. I'm starting them February, March, like the end of February. I'm starting my peppers and tomatoes indoors, and they're going to be indoors all the way until April, May. So they are going to get up potted from that 18 cell sponge, but I don't have to do it immediately. And I don't have to do it more than once. I can take it from the 18 cell directly into a 1 gallon Smart Pot transplanter, which is what we do for all of our tomatoes. We're going to actually go out to Smart Pots here in a few weeks and do this. We started all the seeds for the tomatoes out there, and now we're going to go back here. Hey, Evan, are they sprouted yet? You're out there in the green. They have a greenhouse that they've been awesome about letting us use to do experiments with them, and also just to start our seeds. So I don't have to have a greenhouse in my garage. I'm not using as much as my garage setup anymore now that we can use their greenhouse. So we're going to do all of our tomatoes. Smart Pots is right down the road from us. We're both based out of Oklahoma City. So it just works for both of us to work together. So we're going to record all of that and show you how we do it. But so that's what we do on the 18 cell. And then the 40 cell is kind of an in-between that we use for things more like broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, that is going to be indoors, but not as long as tomatoes and peppers. And it's just going to like start hitting the limit of the 60 cell pretty quick. So hopefully that answers the question. Carrie, anything you'd add to that, or any other specific thoughts we have on?
The only thing I might add in is like if you're doing like flowers too, I would do either like the 40 or 60 also, because typically, I mean, for the most part, are a little bit slower growing. Unless it's marigolds, those just exploded on us last year. But I would do probably a 40 for those. But
Yeah. Question from Josh on how quick mint and sage grow. So typically for both mint and sage, it is faster and better to grow them from a cutting of an existing plant. So you take an existing mint plant or sage and you take off a snippet of something that's relatively new that's starting to grow, and then you root that out. We've done a whole series showing how we've done this with rosemary and other ones. Check that out if you want to know more about how to do that. You can start seeds for both of them. And before we started working with Park Seed, we had never really tried it. Like we had tried it once with rosemary, it didn't work out. We'd always heard how difficult it was to do, so we never really did it that much. But last year, we actually did try starting our own rosemary seeds in the biodome, and it actually went way faster and way better than I thought it would. So my mind has been opened up to the idea of starting my own seeds, but it still doesn't change the fact that if there's a specific variety of rosemary I like, the easiest way to get that is to take a cutting of it, because the seeds of it oftentimes aren't going to give me what that specific plant has because of hybridization and all that kind of stuff. And another rabbit hole I won't go down. But just understand that when it comes to all the herbs, it's usually better to propagate.
Okay, I think we need to do this question right here. I thought this was a fun one.
Okay.
Number one, flower, herb, fruit, and vegetable. You can start by seed.
Okay.
I don't know if I can pick just one. That's so challenging.
Well, go ahead. Do you have one in mind already?
Oh my gosh. So no, I don't. I don't.
All right.
I just saw this question. I was like, oh, this is a great one.
Okay, so for vegetables, I'm going to go with peas for two reasons. Number one, you can only get the taste of them if you grow them yourself. If you buy them from the store, they're not going to taste the way they do out of the garden. If you wait an hour after you pick them, they're not going to taste the way they do out of the garden. You're just not going to get that flavor anywhere else.
Uh-oh, he froze for me. I'm not sure if you all can hear him or not, or me, hopefully. Anyway, I'll take my favorite vegetable. So my favorite vegetable is here, I'll make me big. I'll take your frozen face off the screen. Hello. Welcome.
Hello. My computer froze, I guess. So now I'm here. Okay.
So honestly, my favorite vegetable would probably be anything that's colorful. I was gonna say I don't know, probably one of the broccolis that we grow, like the purple broccoli or anything like that. Yeah, those are my favorite.
Speaking of which, we just put a whole new section up on the app on the dashboard that is all of Carrie's favorite colorful cool season stuff. So we went through and picked all of our favorites.
You guys
They're
need to
all
check
right
that
there.
out.
It's on the dashboard and in the shop. So, okay, I was saying peas because number one, you only get the flavor out of your garden, but also like everyone has a fence for the most part that's just like sitting there that would look better if it had a wall of peas on it. And I saw here he's going to try to turn it. Well, it just said connection lost, so I don't know exactly what happened, but so everyone has a fence that would look better just by having peas growing up it. So that's why I go with peas. There were a lot of other categories on there. Flowers, zinnias, zinnias, and more zinnias.
I will have to say the same. Zinnias are by far they're just so easy and beautiful, and yeah, they're my favorite by far.
And the most controversial statement I will make today is cilantro for herbs. 15% of you will not like that answer.
I will go with basil, cinnamon basil.
It's a good one.
Yep.
Fruits is a tricky one because most fruits are not grown by seed.
Strawberries.
But even then, we
tried it. We did it last year.
It didn't do as well.
Yeah, it takes a lot longer to go by seed for it. So
because the ones you're buying, like the bare root ones, are already like a year or two old by the time you're getting them, and I'm not patient enough. So when it comes to fruit, man, tomato, a cherry tomato,
there you go.
Specifically.
Ooh, I'll go with a black. Nope, you can't do it. But nope, never mind. Oh man, that is a tough one. Like trying to think what my favorite fruits are. Well,
I gave you the answer. It's like,
well, yes, but honestly, I don't know. Okay, fine. He said to say watermelon.
But you like those other melons better. What are those named ones you like better? The cantaloupe, the fake cantaloupes.
Yes. Oh, what is it? The sugar kiss ones. The sugar kiss.
Yeah, sugar kiss ones.
Yeah, there's like these cantaloupe just taste like sugar. They do. They're so good.
My answer to this is absolutely not.
Well, so I will say there
might be specific varieties. Yeah,
there are. So Park Seed actually carries some that are. I mean, I won't say they are mildew resistant by any means because they are all somewhat susceptible, especially towards the end of the season. It doesn't take the temperatures dipping down at all. But there are some that are better than others. And I know the Parks Picks ones are good.
Makes sense because they're taller.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, so actually I would say zinnias that are taller and have longer stems are going to be better for it because they're able to get more airflow.
Well, even I think it was the Zahara mix, because I actually had this question from somebody like a month ago, so I researched it. So I know for sure like the Parks Picks, because I was like, oh, good, I already grow a lot of those. I think it was also like the Zahara mixes, and there was one other one that I can't remember off the top of my head, but
the answer to this one is way too many.
We did so on just the live stream. We're shaking the
Sorry, I'm shaking the
just
camera.
on the live stream itself. So what, like 2 weeks ago, whenever we did these, I think we counted out. It was what, 150 seeds that we started just in like an hour.
The way we look at it is we start way more than we know we're going to need, because we're going to have some that aren't going to work out. We're going to have some that we want to give away. We just always start way more than we need. And then we're always scrambling, trying to find someone to take 30 tomatoes from us in May. But
exactly. I mean, and if we have extra, like we have so many animals too that all appreciate it, and then they give us compost in return. So it's only fair that we share some of the food too, right?
Yeah. So, because probably half of our garden ends up going to the animals, but it works out.
Yeah. Okay, we are at 1, but you probably were drawing in the other room and hadn't done it yet, right?
That's true. You're gonna have to do it over here.
Okay. Well, here go.
Pull up a question.
Talk about cantaloupe.
I'll talk about cantaloupe. Okay, so when it comes to cantaloupe, there's a couple of different ways you can grow it. You can either let it like vine out all over the ground, which works fine. You will have more issues with disease and with pests like that. And I got so mad the first year we were growing cantaloupe because I've been like going out and checking this cantaloupe every single day. And the day that it's ripe, the mice knew as well, and they ate right into it. And so I learned then, like with cantaloupe and melons and all of that, it's better to have them up off the ground. You can like build a cage around them. I'm not going to do all that. What I do is I grow a lot of the cantaloupes on the cattle panel trellises that we showed earlier. And we will just give them extra support, or just stick to varieties that don't get too big. So like with our watermelons, we're going to do all small varieties that do just fine hanging on the trellis. So
okay,
you got a winner?
I do. Okay, here we go. Congratulations to Caitlin Peterson. So email us at info@seedtospoon.net, and we will get you hooked up with your free year of premium subscription along with a pack of seeds.
That comes with free shipping on all of your orders.
Yes.
But don't forget, if you're out there and you're going to be buying seeds, the best deal is to go through our app, sign up for the yearly subscription. You get free shipping on all of your orders that way. And then also you get 15% off your order with code SPOON15. So it's a good deal, y'all. We've worked hard to get this deal for you guys. It's a good one.
I was gonna say, if you guys want to win too, you can, after this post to YouTube, go into YouTube and comment in there again, because that's how we got our winner from the beginning, was somebody that commented after the fact. So you still get the chance to win. Okay. Do we want to answer a couple more questions that I have up here?
Do we have any others that we need to?
Let me see. There was this one. How early is too early to start? I guess I was going to have you show the app for this one.
Yeah, so that's going to depend on where you are. If you go into the app and look at tomatoes, it'll give you planting dates that are based on your nearest weather station. Some people say it's never too early. It's how much work do you want to do? Technically, you could start them right now, but the older they get, the more work it's going to be keeping them alive indoors. And I really regretted starting tomatoes too early one year. And since then, I've backed off and I start them a little later. And
you have to do less work, I feel like, if you start them later. But they aren't quite as...
If I lived somewhere that like was north, where I had a limited growing season, like it's going to be hot here for a very long time though in Oklahoma. Like,
Yeah,
so
we have plenty of time.
yeah, and the farmer's market always has
the zone 10 start tomatoes before Christmas.
nice.
Woo! Wow, here
Very
we're.
cool.
I feel like we're still like just thinking about tomatoes here in zone 7, but yeah.
Yeah, here in a few weeks we start our tomato seeds.
Awesome. Here, I'll just do. I know there was a few more. Jennifer was asking about covering seed trays. So if it was 100% necessary, and I will say no, it's not 100% necessary. I will say it helps a significant amount, especially with your germination rate, just because it helps to create like the humidity dome in there, and it keeps your seedling or your seeds moist as they're germinating, so you don't have to water them as often. Like, it just makes it go a lot easier for you.
Yeah, we noticed a big
say.
difference when we switched to the Biodome, because before the Biodome, we were doing everything in just seed starting trays with no dome, open air. And we noticed two differences. One, we've had more successful germination, so a higher percentage germinate. I think that's the Biodome. I think it's also having fresh seeds, because a lot of the seeds we did before were ones that we were buying on clearance at the end of the season from after they've been sitting on the shelf
from the
all
Dollar
summer.
Tree.
From the Dollar Tree. Yeah, they were like clearance Dollar Tree seeds. Like literally is what
So
we were doing.
I would plant like 3 and maybe 1 would show up, but
yeah,
that's if we were lucky.
So, and also another difference that it makes. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Okay, so the first one is the percentage that germinate, but also the speed in which they germinate. Without having them covered, it may take 10 days for something to germinate, whereas when it is covered, you're looking at 6 to 7. So, you know, just a rough estimate of 25 to 30% faster sprout times. I'm a data nerd. I like that. And I'm also impatient, so I like that too. So
the flower impatience.
See, we told you garden puns on the push notification. We told you to bring your garden puns. Here are ours.
Okay, great question. So how many biodomes do you suggest for a family of 4? So, I mean, honestly, it just really depends on what all you're wanting to grow. Really.
Yeah. So I would have, here's the way I would look at it. I would suggest having a biodome for tomatoes and peppers. Have one dedicated for that because you're going to want it to be warmer than your others. I would have a biodome for your broccoli and cauliflower in those. I would do a 40 cell for that. And then I would do a 60 cell that you use for lettuce and things like that. That's mostly for me for my grow towers, because I want to have a continuous stream of new ones going in, and I don't want to be waiting on germination outside. I don't want to be trying to keep the garden tower little cells moist while they're germinating, because those dry out so quick.
It's just way easier to use a biodome.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's the strategy. I would have at least 3, and then another use case for one is having one dedicated to doing propagation. So we do a lot of that, especially in the summer or in the fall when we don't have other stuff we're using the biodomes for. We do a lot of propagating rosemary and stuff like that to give out, or just because we're nerds and it's fun.
Yeah, but I mean, we have so many ourselves. It looks like we're not alone. So Michelle says family of 3, but she has 10 of them.
We have one more giveaway we have to do.
Oh yes, who was the closest to?
Was it still
Utah? Hey, let us know who.
My computer going down really sent us haywire on this one.
I know. I think we had 2 that were very close together. You guys need to let us know. Let's see who the closest one was. So let me know. Or maybe I just tell you guys, email me.
Just email us.
Send me an email.
This is the contest. Email us with your city and the closest one to what city was it? I don't even remember.
I don't remember.
This is what happens when you let me invent contests on the fly. We don't even know what city it's a contest. Whoever's closest to southern Utah, I guess, is. I don't know what we're doing at this point. Someone in the chat's going to say.
I remember there was a population of 118. Harry Warp helped us.
Just ask ChatGPT then. Hey, what population? Yeah.
Yeah. We'll find it. We'll find it.
They're right there. Answer me. Thank you. I knew Harry would say this.
Yes. Thank you. There you go.
Is Harry Warp AI?
You get all the answers.
I know he's always right there with the perfect answer. I don't know what we would do without him. He's been here on so many of our live streams, saving us over these years. He's like our unofficial producer. Okay, answer me. All right, so email us if you're close to answering how, and then we'll let you know who the winner is.
Yes, so email here. Let me pop up the email one more time. info@seedspoon.net.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Well, it's been fun hanging out with y'all.
It has.
We have no idea what we're talking about next week yet. We usually figure it out a couple of days before.
Probably tomatoes. I mean, it's tomato time.
They really want to know about watering too.
But you guys do want to know about watering, so
let us know in the comments of this video after it's posted.
Okay.
What do you want to talk about next week? Tomatoes, watering, something else.
It's probably watering's gonna win, I think.
We'll
cool. Leave it to you guys.
Well, it's good to hang out with y'all. Thank you as always. We'll see you next week.
Bye.